Hello Doctor fans and welcome to another video. As you can see, I'll be comparing the Davros figures. So as you can see, there's three different figures here. Taking into account that Davros has only appeared twice in the modern era, once in 2008 in the Series 4 finale, Stolen Earth Journey's End, and a second time, and a very later second time, in The Witch's Familiar and The Magician's Apprentice, which was the introductory episode to Series 9. So it's been released, as you can see, more than one occasion. Technically, the very first version was released first as part of the Stolen Earth set, which was this one here, the individual release. This was here released in the Stolen Earth set, but also released in the Series 4 wave of figures. Then, secondly, in the middle, we had the remote control version, again released in 2008, based on the similar model of that of the Stolen Earth version. And then we had the version that only came out not long ago via B&M. Technically, this version is supposed to be based off the Witch's Familiar Davros, rather than the Stolen Earth version. Though technically the actual model is pretty much very, very similar. So, starting off with these two, as you can see, they are both very similar. The control panels are pretty much exactly the same, there's no difference whatsoever. There are some of the main differences that you can easily look out for between the remote control version and standard version is the original version, so the version that came out in the Stolen Earth set, and also as part of the wave of figures, has a bit more of a darker face, but also slightly more of a gloss face. I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell or not, but the face is a bit more darker compared to the remote control version, which has more of a lighter but matte kind of colour. And also, if you look very carefully as well, the original version, so released individually and part of a set, has more of a gloss kind of black, well, sort of chained jacket on him, whilst the remote control version, again, has more of a matte colour. So, whilst the skirt is pretty much exactly the same, some of the models on Davros himself would be that the remote control version has more of a matte kind of colour, whilst the individual release and set release has more of a gloss kind of colour. So whilst obviously, very, very similar in that respect, there are very subtle differences. And if you look very closely, the silver shines that bit more compared to the remote control version. So apart from the main difference obviously being this one's remote control and this one is not, there are very subtle differences between the two, which I quite like because it means it wasn't a direct release, but with some improvements. Though technically, out of the two, this one's actually my favourite. I feel I got the details quite right on it more than probably this version. Whilst this obviously is a remote control version, which I like, I do like the details on it that bit more. The base is pretty much the same, and the skirt, so there's not really that many differences. But when we compare that to the Witch's Familiar version, which was only released last year, then obviously it's more of a, you can tell there's more of a noticeable difference. So one thing, as you can see, is the silver is certainly more shiny and glossy. So they've actually really improved that, and that is why out of these three, this one's actually my favourite of the set. One that they've actually got the detail very nice on it, and that they've actually, first of all, they've toned up the black, so it's more it's more striking, and obviously the more shiny silver as well. So it's also offsets it from the black as much. The one disappointment with this one is that they didn't actually add any bolt details on the base, which is quite a shame really, because I don't think it would have cost that much more to add, but it's a shame those added details on there. It certainly would have been a perfect model, but I do like how this version, the last version, does have more of a nice glossy silver to it to make it offset all the black, because pretty much Davros has only two colours, black and silver, so to have a more of a striking silver and a more of a, well, nice glossy black, it offsets the colours very, very well. Again, the jacket is also more of a lighter kind of black, with more of a gloss effect, similar to this but toned up a bit, whilst obviously this is just a standard matte black. Again, another one of the main differences you'll notice is the last version, the face tone has actually been toned down quite a bit. Technically this is more accurate to how it was in The Witch's Familiar, though you're probably seeing that different angles pretty much sometimes show his face is a bit more orange. I would have probably liked to have seen that maybe a bit more than the brownie kind of colour, because it would have given it more of an accurate tone. But that's just being a bit accurate. And another difference as well is, as you can see, the blue eye as well is pretty much the same, but it's more of a shade down, so it's more of a darker blue than probably like a sky blue. But overall, you can definitely tell that there's not that much in it, but between the first two and the B&M version, you can certainly tell there are differences. Whilst obviously the first two are very, very similar in that respect due to them being released in the same year, they certainly made improvements with the B&M version, though the only qualm that I got with that version is that there's no bolts on the base, and I would like the tone, his skin tone, in probably in a more of an orangey brown, probably like a rust. Then it probably would have given it more of an accuracy to how he appeared in the episode. But overall, it's nice to have actually have all three versions. Then you can really see the differences. If you're ever wanting to try and get the Davros figure, then I would certainly recommend the B&M version, due to it being that bit more accurate. Whilst obviously I do think these versions here are probably slightly off, though again this was released very shortly after Series 4, so they were quickly done. But overall, my favourite version is certainly the B&M version, and technically it's actually probably the most easiest to find. It also coming with the 12 dot Peter Capaldi figure as well, so it's technically good in all that respect. So I hope you enjoyed this comparison of the Davros figures, and you can see all the different comparisons between them. Let me know if you've actually got any of these yourself, or you got the 12-inch version that was released also in 2008, so a very big Davros. But overall, keep watching the Who merchandise page, and I'll hopefully have some new figure reviews very soon. And don't ask me about the B&M figures, because I absolutely have no idea when the belts will come, but hopefully very soon is what I'm hoping.